On this episode of China Uncensored, did you fill out your paperwork? Wait, Shelley, why does the teleprompter say that? Hi, welcome to China Uncensored. I'm your host, Chris Chappell. Tibet, a land of happiness and freedom, according to the Chinese Communist Party. In fact, Tibet's capital tops state-run CCTV's poll as the happiest place in China. Sorry, Mickey, I'm sure Shanghai Disneyland came in a close second. But unlike Disneyland, if you try to flee Tibet, Chinese soldiers will actually shoot you. But there's more good news for the happy people living in Tibet. It turns out that even after death, they will still feel the loving embrace of Chinese bureaucracy. Traditionally, Tibetan Buddhists believe that after death, their soul re-enters the cycle of samsara, and they will be reborn based on their karma or their wishes from a previous life. Clearly, a slow, inefficient process riddled with problems. Problems that today have been solved, thanks to the efficiently humming engine of socialism with Chinese characteristics. You see, back in 2007, that old-fashioned way of reincarnation was banned. Now, it's under the auspices of the Chinese government. Yes, I kid you not, the officially atheist Chinese Communist Party is bringing the revolution to the afterlife, streamlining the whole thing by requiring government permission before reincarnation. According to the State Administration of Religious Affairs, this was an important move to institutionalize management of reincarnation. So to reincarnate, you'll need to fill out Form 99R as well as Form 22EL. Don't forget Form 108A. Make sure you do the calculations on the back of that one to get your official karma score. You'll need to get all of those signed and notarized in triplicate. And you'll need 2 valid forms of ID, plus your death certificate. Piece of cake. Sure, that may seem like unnecessary and ridiculous government regulation of something the party doesn't even believe in, but it's there for a reason. Take a specific case. Under the sloppy way reincarnation was handled in the past, this boy was mistakenly identified as the Panchen Lama, the number 2 religious figure in Tibetan Buddhism. The Dalai Lama was the one who identified him. Fortunately, the Chinese government stepped in and cleared up that mess. The boy and his family mysteriously disappeared. And the Chinese Communist Party found someone else to call the Panchen Lama. You know, this guy's the real deal because he says things like monks should love the Communist Party. Meanwhile, the other guy is probably doing okay. After human rights groups and the UN repeatedly asked about his whereabouts, Chinese authorities responded that he's absolutely fine and living a normal, happy life. Authorities went on to say that he was living on a happy little farm in the countryside where he has lots of room to sit around and meditate. I'm sure they've already filled out his reincarnation paperwork for him. But you know who's a bigger threat to the Communist Party than a 6-year-old boy? An 81-year-old man. This 81-year-old man, that Nazi, terrorist, wolf in monk's robes. Well, he's not going to live forever, and I'll bet the CCP can't wait to approve his reincarnation. Because they'll make sure the next Dalai Lama is someone who totally gets what communism is all about. Not someone who interferes with China's internal affairs by, I don't know, visiting politically sensitive disputed territory. See, that pesky, still-living Dalai Lama just made a visit to the Arunachal Pradesh. That's along the border of China and India. And, surprise, the Chinese regime claims it's not a part of India, but has been a part of China's sacred territory since ancient times. In fact, they call it South Tibet, kind of like how Los Angeles is East Beijing. Needless to say, the Chinese regime flipped out.
India, disregarding China's concerns and persisting to arrange for the Dalai Lama to go to the eastern sector of the disputed border region between China and India, severely harms China's interests and China-Indian relations.
And one Indian official had the sweetest response. He basically took a page out of China's own playbook.
India never interfered into the internal affairs of China. We expect that China also should not interfere in our internal matters.
State-run China Daily called it cute. I guess state-run media can dish it out, but they can't take it. But the Dalai Lama's trip was about more than needling the Chinese regime on territory disputes. It was about the future of Tibetan Buddhism. The town he visited is also the historic home of the 6th Dalai Lama, 400 years ago. There's also a tradition that towards the end of his life, the Dalai Lama will visit the place he will be reincarnated in. I mean, you always want to scope out a neighborhood before you move in. Is he trying to say the next Dalai Lama will be found in India, not China? Clearly he doesn't understand China's laws on reincarnation. Some Buddhist master he is. But here's where the Communist Party has been playing the long game. You see, one of the reasons they kidnapped a 6-year-old child and installed their own Panchen Lama in his place is because part of the Panchen Lama's job is to identify the next Dalai Lama. So after the Dalai Lama reincarnates with state approval, the Communist Party-loving Panchen Lama will officially find him in China. But the current Dalai Lama isn't taking this sitting down. He had this to say last week.
That's, I think, frankly speaking, quite a nonsense. The first, Chinese communists should accept theory of rebirth. Then second, Chinese government should recognize Chairman Mao Zedong's reincarnation as well as Deng Xiaoping's reincarnation. Then there is some logical showing concern about Dalai Lama's reincarnation.
Ouch! I think the Communist Party might need some lotion for that burn. I have a feeling the next party-approved reincarnation of the Dalai Lama won't be quite as sassy. So what do you think of the Chinese Communist Party's ban on reincarnation? Leave your comments below. And if you'd like to generate good karma for yourself, so Beijing will mark you down for a top post in the next lifetime, consider contributing to China Uncensored on Patreon. We depend on viewer support like yours. Simply follow the link below and choose an amount you'd like to contribute per episode. Thanks for watching this episode of China Uncensored. Once again, I'm your host, Chris Chappell. See you in the next life.